Hello, everybody. This is Gerald Salenti, and we're very, very honored to have with us a man of men, what they used to call an American patriot. There's someone that believes in the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and what the founding fathers fought about, writes about it, and does everything he can to do what he can to keep that spirit alive. Judge Andrew Napolitano. Judge, thank you for being here. And this is the day before Thanksgiving. And that used to be a holiday when you were thankful and blessed for the wonders and beauty of life and joy that were given to us as citizens of America. And that's not kind of like the Thanksgiving we have right now. We have crime syndicate running the country that the people calls the government.
And it almost doesn't matter who's in the White House or which party controls the Congress. For all of his talk of peace, Donald Trump appears to be appointing I won't say a cabinet, because a lot of these people are not technically in the cabinet, but an executive branch as bellicose, warlike, and Zionist as the one it will replace. And with a few exceptions, like former Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard as the director of national intelligence, a job that shouldn't exist. Let her run the CIA, but whatever. She's technically the boss of the CIA. With the exception of her, we really have a bunch of neocon and Zionist retreads.
Well, she's very pro-Zionism,
I didn't know that. She's very good on many issues of spying, but I'm not surprised that she's a Zionist, because that's Trump's mantra.
Oh, no, I read the article. We wrote about it in the Trends Journal. About how we have to beware of Islamophobia because it's going to be taking over the world, and that we support Israel's right to defend itself.
The Attorney General nominee, well, not technically the nominee, the person who wants to be Attorney General, Pam Bondi, I ran this clip a couple of times this week on Judging Freedom, told Fox News a year ago now, the fall of 23, that students, whether they're American or foreign, who demonstrate against Israel on college campuses should either be thrown out of the country or interrogated by FBI agents. What about the First Amendment? This lady's going to be running the Justice Department and the FBI, and she thinks FBI agents can interrogate you because of your political opinions? That's exactly what the First Amendment was written to prohibit. Now, we haven't even gotten to Hegseth and Rubio and Mike Waltz yet. I mean, this is just, this is not the Trump that he said he would be.
Yep. Judge,
maybe these are favors to Mrs. Edelman.
Again, it's by their deeds you shall know them. And as we talked about last week, Trump said he's going to end the Ukraine war when he gets into office within 24 hours. That's a quote. And so far, we haven't heard a peep coming out of him about the Biden administration ramping up the Ukraine war by letting them use the long-range missiles. And now it's been reported that Biden is looking to send another $24 billion of our money to keep bloodying the killing fields over there. Now, I've heard from you, I think you said there's, 200 and how much billion we've sent them already?
We've sent them we don't know the exact number, but we know the parameters. It's between 240 and 265 billion. These numbers are mind-boggling. And Jake Sullivan, the National Security Council or National Security Advisor, who's buddy with his successor appointed by Trump, Mike Waltz, said that they have 7 billion in the pipeline, meaning authorized but not yet distributed. So old Joe, really Tony Blinken and Jake Sullivan, want another 24 billion. That'll give them 31 billion to spend in 2 months. Now, I don't think Congress will go along with the 24. The 7 they've already authorized. It's in the pipeline. It's there to be spent at the president's discretion. He can send over cargo planes full of $100 bills, or he can send over equipment that we have, which we probably need in reserve, God forbid, if we need it for our own defense. And then the money will go to the arms manufacturers here in the U.S. to pay them to make equipment to replace that which he's sending over. I can't imagine the Congress going along with $24 billion or anything at this stage of the game. Biden's foreign policy and domestic policy was soundly repudiated by the electorate. The Republican House is now decidedly, I'm not a fan of the Republican House, but on this I agree with them. The Republican House is now decidedly anti-Ukraine. I don't think he's going to get that to $24 billion. But why is he asking for it? Because he wants to extend the killing, as you say, and he wants a conflagration, a great explosion, metaphorically speaking, in Ukraine to happen on Donald Trump's watch.
You know, Judge, you write an article, and everybody, by the way, you have to go to Judging Freedom if you really want to know what's going on, and behind not the crap that you're hearing from the mainstream media, but these are experts in various fields giving you the facts about what's going on with the Israel war, the Ukraine war, and on and on. You want to go to Judging Freedom, judgingfreedom.com. What guests you have coming up, Judge?
Later today, Max Blumenthal, Professor John Mearsheimer, our mutual friend, Phil Giraldi, and Matt Ho, just returning from 8 days in Palestine. 6'4" ex-Marine, roughed up by the IDF because he stepped over the border from Israel to Gaza. Literally put his foot over that border and they pushed him around. He's got some harrowing stories to tell. Harrowing. He wept, 6'4" Marine who wept at the sight of these babies with no arms and no legs.
And where's the outrage in this country about that?
There is no outrage from the Biden people. They paid for this. And there is apparently no outrage from the Trump people. They're all ardent Zionists. Even the one decent one among them, Tulsi Gabbard, the ex-Democrat, I didn't know until you reminded me that she too is an ardent Zionist.
Yep. So
Trump's senior executive leadership, to a person, are ardent Zionists.
You know, Judge, you have an article coming out, and will be out tomorrow, about Thanksgiving. And you begin it by saying, government requires make-believe. Make-believe that the king is divine. Make-believe that he can do no wrong, or make-believe that the voice of the people is the voice of God. Make-believe that the people have a voice, or make-believe that the representatives of the people are the people. Make-believe that governors are the servants of the people. Make-believe that all men are created equal, or make-believe that they are not. And this is from Edmund Morgan. I don't know who he is. Tell me more about him.
Well, he was a progressive professor of history at Yale, but who saw right through the folly of government. I began with a quote from him in order to entice people into the article, which is that there's very little to be thankful for. The government is run by a gaggle of bankers and arms manufacturers and law enforcement and intelligence types who don't change no matter who's in the White House or who's controlling Congress. They think that our liberties come from them like a water faucet, and they can turn it on and turn it off when they want. They're going to keep us in debt, and they're going to keep us in war. And I present this article in a series of these arguments in a series of questions. What if, what if, what if?
Yeah.
So all of the saccharine, cotton candy, like, oh, I'm so happy for America that we hear at Thanksgiving, people need to look beneath the surface of that. Things are not getting better. They're getting worse. and it almost doesn't matter who you vote for. That's the essence of the article, Gerald. People get mad at me when I write this stuff saying you're a Scrooge, you're a killjoy. I'm trying to stir the pot so people realize what's happening right underneath their noses. You know me well. I am not a Scrooge and I am not a killjoy.
Well, look, I'm an anti-Semite because
Right.
I'm against the Israel genocide.
Right. Oh, the whole International Criminal Court is anti-Semitic because they had the chutzpah to indict Netanyahu. Come on.
But Judge, here's the cover of this week's Trends Journal to really just mentioning that because of what you just mentioned. U.S. vetoes UN resolution. Right?
Right.
Yeah. Biden.
Keep the genocide going, and we'll keep giving you the bombs for the slaughter. That is true. That is true. Every time there's a Security Council resolution to stop the killing, the U.S. vetoes. It'd be interesting to see what Trump does. My opinion, same thing. He has $100 million debt to Mrs. Adelson. He doesn't want her to be furious.
Oh, you look at the people that he's brought into the office, and the guy, the Middle East envoy, one after another. These are Jewish guys that donated, that got Trump a lot of money when people were condemning what Israel was doing. And he got a lot of money from them. And the people that I forgot his name, the guy that's the Middle East envoy that Trump selected.
Yeah,
he wrote about it.
I don't know who it is either.
Yeah. Well, I know the guy's name.
I know he selected an ardent Christian nationalist Zionist whom I used to work with, Mike Huckabee, to be the U.S. ambassador to Israel. It's not really a policy-making job. It's just sort of a PR job. And I know his representative to the UN is a former toilet salesman by the name of Matt Whitaker, who was acting attorney general for a couple of months and was an utter failure in that job. Trump is rewarding loyalists. He wants loyalty over competence. And our friends, our libertarian, small government, free market, maximum individual liberty friends, I don't want to mention their names. We can if you want, who told us they were for Trump, they were for Trump, they were for Trump, they believed what he said, are already distancing themselves from him, and he's not even sworn in yet.
Yep. You write this article. What if the government's true goal is to perpetuate its own power? What if the real levers of government power are pulled by agents, diplomats, bureaucrats, donors, central bankers, and arm manufacturers? What if they have power no matter who is elected president or which political party controls either house of Congress? Judge, what you just wrote here is exactly what's going on in America. Look at the presidential election. Look at the billionaires that gave them hundreds of millions to either candidate. They say that Kamala Harris got like $2.3 billion to run the campaign, and Trump about $1.2 billion. And what Musk come in, right? Musk is now a mouthpiece for him, and he's one of the richest guy in the world. This is who's running the government. The banksters, the billionaires. We're nothing more than plantation workers of Slavelandia. That's all it is. The facts are right there. You cannot run for office in this country unless you have a lot of money behind you.
Right. No exaggeration. No exaggeration. So I don't see this getting better. Maybe I should give Trump the benefit of the doubt. He's not even in office yet. Maybe he'll grow in office, as it was said about his predecessors. You know, he is a friend of mine. I haven't heard from him. I don't expect him to call me. He's got enough on his hands. But we'll see where it goes. Doesn't look good right now. And I wrote this piece to remind the American public of that.
Well, you know, Musk came out and he said that he's against the Biden's deal to send another 20-something billion to Ukraine. So we'll see what happens with that. You go, what if the last four presidents, two from each political party, have used high-tech drones to kill innocent people in foreign lands with which America was not at war, and claim that they did so legally, relying not on a declaration of war from Congress, but on erroneous and secret legal arguments that claim American presidents can kill with impunity.
Well, that's Donald Trump killing General Soleimani. Joe Biden used drones to kill people. I don't know the names of the victims. Barack Obama did the same to Anwar al-Awlaki and his son, both born in the United States. And George W. Bush, of course, used it hundreds of times to kill innocents abroad. These were not drones used to attack troops that were shooting at Americans. These were drones used to kill civilians not engaged in violence and as to whom there was no indictment, or military not engaged in violence. In the case of General Soleimani, trying to bring about peace between Iran and Iraq. Did you see Mike Pompeo the other day on Fox News lauding Joe Biden for authorizing use of American long-range missiles attacking Russia, and predicting, are you ready for this? Before Trump is inaugurated, Russia will lose the war. I mean, this is really crazy stuff. This is the former head of the CIA and the former Secretary of State. Probably not happy that he's not going to be in this administration. Trump actually made an announcement shortly after election day. I got to quell the rumors. Nikki Haley and Mike Pompeo will not be in my administration. I enjoyed working with them last time. They're not going to be around this time. Then he goes on Fox News and says, 3 cheers for Joe Biden. Ukraine's going to beat Russia. Crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Look at the low-life pieces of scum that you're talking about. Pompeo, a little arrogant jerk of nothing, a little clown boy with a bad attitude. And you're talking about Fox? That's Trump's cabinet. How many people from Fox did he pick?
Right.
How many clowns from the media did he pick? Well, right in front of our eyes.
Let's put it this way. The military is not happy with Pete Hegseth. But the pharmaceutical industry is very happy with, I'm not sure of her name, Jeanette Neshawarich, a physician who appears on Fox from time to time as the head of either the FDA or the CDC. I think the head of the CDC. What a world.
Yep. Oh, and she was the one that was selling the COVID jab all the time, right?
Correct.
Yep.
And another fellow from Fox was going to be the Secretary of Transportation, Irish name, I forget the last name, first name Sean Duffy, former member of Congress. Decent, harmless guy, but a big government guy.
You know, when you mentioned about the last 4 presidents and who they killed, these are murderers.
Yes.
They're murderers.
Yes. These were acts of murder because there was no declaration of war and there was no due process. I mean, it's not like these people were about to kill somebody else, and so it was justified to kill them first. None of them were indicted. The government wasn't looking for any of them. There was no interaction with the judiciary. It was just put them on the list and kill them.
Yeah, again, as you said, under the claim that they were a threat to America, right?
Correct. So that gives the president immunity, thanks to the Supreme Court, for these acts of murder.
So if I think somebody is a threat to me, I could kill anybody I want.
You're not the president of the United States. I wish you were.
No, I wish you were. And that's as you well know, right? Because if you were president of the United States, this would be the true America that our founding fathers fought for, and what we've lost. You know, Judge, your article here, you go on to say, what if the $36 trillion currently the federal government debt has been caused by borrowing to pay for wars and false prosperity? What if the federal government collects about $4.4 trillion annually, but spends about $6.1 trillion? What if the feds borrow money to pay $1 trillion in interest annually?
What if it is insane to borrow money and use it to pay interest on money you've already borrowed. I mean, this is almost the definition of insanity. If you suggested this in an economics class, you'd flunk.
And that's what we have running our country, insane people. And this country is going down. And I'm very concerned, as is Scott Ritter and a number of other people, about a nuclear war. And now they say there's a ceasefire in Lebanon, big deal. They're still slaughtering the people in Gaza. But I read Netanyahu's speech that after the ceasefire was approved of, and he went on to say, these achievements are a source of awe and admiration, you ready? Across the globe. And they are projecting Israel's might throughout the Middle East. Israel might throughout the Middle East. You're bombing the hell out of a place, Gaza, the size of Philadelphia, and Lebanon, 5.7 million people, a country the size of Connecticut, and you're telling me how powerful you are? Here's where it gets ugly. First, the head of the octopus, Iran. We destroyed major parts of Iran's air defense system and missile manufacturing capabilities, and we demolished a significant component of their nuclear programs. I am determined to do anything needed to prevent Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon. That threat has always been my top priority and is even more so today. When you hear Iran's leaders state over and over again their intention to obtain nuclear weapons, for me, removing that threat is the most important mission to ensure the existence and future of the state of Israel.
The only reason that they signed the ceasefire in Lebanon is because the IDF was getting slaughtered, and the IDF will not release those numbers. And still, the one remaining fanatic in the war cabinet voted against the ceasefire, even though the IDF begged for the ceasefire because they can't take it much longer. So Netanyahu is as deceptive as he's always been.
So going back to nuclear war, he's coming out against Iran. And again, just listen to the language.
Does he admit that Israel has a nuclear weapon? Because if they do, they haven't signed any of the protocols that international law and American law requires.
They have what, between 200 to 400 nuclear warheads, right?
Yes, they do. So the technology stolen by a character named Jonathan Pollard from American technology.
Again, he begins it by saying, I am determined to do anything needed to prevent Iran. I am determined. It's what you wrote about in your article. I am determined. All you people out there, you don't mean crap. I am determined. I am your leader. That's the attitude of these politicians that are running a country near you. It's only about me. It's not about you.
It's even more dangerous. It's even more dangerous than that, because Netanyahu has an iron grip on the American government, an iron grip on the Congress, an iron grip on the Biden administration, and, as we talked about earlier in the program, an iron grip on the incoming Trump administration. Iron grip by putting ardent Zionists in there. Netanyahu is the most powerful person in the world.
How could you say an iron grip? You mean just because he got 50-something standing ovations when it came to bullshit to Congress? Can you imagine adults doing that? How sick can you be?
Yeah.
And that goes back to your article about Thanksgiving and what we are not thankful for and how we have to change it. And Judge Napolitano and the people that he has on his show are doing everything they can to change that. So go to Judging Freedom, and everybody, please do all you can in the spirit of Thanksgiving to help those who need help in any way that you can give it. Put your spirit at a higher level and don't go down to the level that the clowns and criminals that are running the country are destroying. Do what you can to lift the spirit as we're trying to do the best that we can. Judge, thanks for being here. Happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, Gerald. Happy Thanksgiving to you. Look forward to next week already.